Today, it's your boy JJ Domination, and we are back here with the Seattle Seahawks Realistic Connected Franchise Mode. Seattle will have to take their talents to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Now, Carolina comes into this game with no significant injuries. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks, they still have Earl Thomas out for 2 weeks, and Ed Dickson will not return to Seattle until week 17 against the Arizona Cardinals. So we got a long wait for Ed Dickson, which means Will Dissly, Nick Vannett, these guys are going to have to step up big time if we're going to look for a win. And there's Cam Newton, one of the best quarterbacks in the game today. His running ability really catches a lot of teams off guard. That size as well. And here's a current look at the playoff picture. The Cardinals could possibly get in. The Panthers, and for the 5-5 teams, it's not over. There's still a lot of time. In Seattle, of course, another game closer could get them home field advantage. And a lot of teams aren't trying to go to Seattle in the rainy conditions, where Seattle could run the football and be effective throwing it as well. So Seattle is going to receive. Carolina is going to kick this thing off. Graham Gano is going to kick it off the tee. And Rashad Penny is back to receive. Penny gonna try to take a corner, and he's gonna get to about the 25-yard line. And Pete Carroll, I don't know what he's complaining about. The game just started, literally. But here's a look at Russell Wilson's season. He has a high completion percentage, up in the 60s. The yards, not exactly where you'd want it to be, but the 16 touchdowns to 8 interceptions is what we're gonna have to keep our eye on. Russell Wilson, of course, sometimes he's gun shy, sometimes he's gun slinging. It just depends. We come out in a 2-receiver, 2-tight end set, and Dissly looks like he's going to motion out. And here we go, right up the middle with Rashad Penny, and Luke Kuechly, with a man in front of him, is able to shed the block and make the tackle. This offense has been really good at running the football recently. Hell, you might as well just say all season they've been pretty good. This is a football team who, in pass protection, it's quick passes, because the offensive line isn't necessarily the greatest. But run blocking, they are manning up to the challenge. And here's Chris Carson, who has entered the game as a flag on the play. Looks like it could be coming back. And yep, it's an illegal block in the back on Trey Madden, the fullback. Not a good look right there. So it's 2nd and 10. You have a variety of options to go with. They're going to send Dissly in motion again. It looks like a safety is creeping down. We'll see what it looks like. But Penny only gets 1 yard right there. Not a good look for Rashad Penny, who is coming into this game already trying to fight to keep his starting job over J.D. McKissic. Russell Wilson and company, let's see what happens here. 3rd down, and Wilson gonna scramble out. He's hoping something gets open down the field, but he gets the block that he needs. Smart manipulation right there, and 12 yards for Russell Wilson. And instead of trying to force something down the field, he just waited for everything to develop right in front of him. And then he just takes off with it. Nice block by Nick Vannett as well, who is starting in the place of Ed Dickson. Now J.D. McKissic enters the game. And McKissic going to get about 4 yards right there, closer to 5. It's going to be 2nd down and 6. Pete Carroll, the long-tenured coach for the Seattle Seahawks, going to come out right here in a trips right formation. 2nd and 6. Rashad Penny enters the backfield. This backfield is a steady rotation. And look at Russell Wilson. He's having to scramble out again. And Mike Adams is going to meet him at the point of attack. A gain of 8 for Russell Wilson. And already we have seen Russell Wilson have to scramble out a few times. It was a screen pass, but there's also a slant route, and Brandon Marshall on the slant route is going to catch it. A gain of about 20 is what they're going to give Brandon Marshall. So that was the first completed pass. It was actually the first real passing attempt for Russell Wilson, because he's already scrambled out on a couple of passing plays, and Rashad Penny getting about 2 yards right there. Penny, of course, selected in the first round out of San Diego State. A lot of people questioning the pick. Of course, he's been dealing with injuries. He's been banged up, but when he's on the field, he's been doing pretty good. So we'll just have to wait and see. Nice pickup of the block right there. And a forced interception by Russell Wilson. And that's what we talked about earlier. Those mistakes that Russell Wilson can't afford to make. Russell Wilson making another costly mistake. It happens. It's one of those throws that he tried to force. Olsen is in motion. McCaffrey is the lead back, and he makes McDougal miss, and Mo Alexander has to put him in the dirt. Last week, McCaffrey, not a great game. The Seattle run defense has been pretty good, but I mean, if you're picking up 9 yards like that, then I don't know, man. It's going to be a long day. Let's see right here. Olsen is in motion. It's going to be a pass from Cam Newton, and it goes to Ian Thomas, who is just fighting. He keeps fighting. He's got about 12 or 13 yards. And he's got the first down as well. Nice play design right there from Carolina. They're really just putting it on these guys. Newton and shotgun, 2 tight ends as well. They're going to give it straight to McCaffrey. Alexander has to fight through traffic to make the tackle, along with Frank Clark, a gain of 5. And Christian McCaffrey, the former first-round pick last year out of Stanford, kind of a do-it-all running back in a deep running back class. They gave us the likes of Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones. I mean, there's a lot of names. Leonard Fournette. There's a lot of big names, a lot of guys that have produced at the running back position who came out of that draft. And I'm probably missing some guys, like Joe Mixon was also in that class. First down and 10. Armah, the fullback, in motion. McCaffrey's going to get it again. And he's brought down, it looks like, by Nazir Jones. And KJ Wright was also in there. 2nd and 8. And that's what the Seattle Seahawks do well. If they're able to clog the lanes, it's going to take away some options for you. So let's see another fullback set. Armah is in motion again. They're just going to run it with C.J. Anderson to the other side, and Bobby Wagner is able to get him from behind for about a gain of 1, maybe 2. Wagner's been busy the past couple of plays. And here we go. Newton throws that one into the dirt. Immediate pressure, it looked like. And 4th and 6, and well, it's a win for the defense. Carolina had a nice, promising drive going, but that turnover really hurt him. Russell Wilson, not a great throw. That's his 9th interception on the season. So Carolina goes up 3-0 with a minute left in the first quarter. And Graham Gano going to go ahead and kick it off. Rashad Penny's back there once again. He's going to get like a stride step, and there's a flag. Could be coming back. Normally when you see a flag on the kickoffs, it's on the receiving team. And that's what the ref is saying. Dante Johnson. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 20. Rashad Penny coming back out there, a little frustrated with the penalty. He thought he gave him good field position. And Penny, with a straight run up the middle, gets about 13. And that's what Rashad Penny can do. He runs between the tackles. He catches passes. Penny's a pretty good running back. But injuries and kind kind of getting lost in the shuffle will do that to a guy. And here's Russell Wilson right here. Nice tackle right there, keeping him in bounds, of course. Bradbury right there. And it's 2nd and 1. Will they run a play? Yes, they will. They're going to give it to Chris Carson, and he's going to power ahead for the first. Gets about 4 yards right there, and we are at the end of the first quarter. Carolina is up 3-0. We'll see if they maintain their lead and maintain the pressure. So Trey Madden is coming back there as well. 3 receivers. Penny in the backfield, and there's Trey Madden. Nice block. Penny gets about 5, maybe 4 yards on the play. Yep, they're going to count him for 4 yards. Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin. We haven't really said their name a whole lot today. And there's Disley. I don't think he got the first. It's going to be pretty close. 3rd and inches. And it looks like Chris Carson is on the field. Let's see what they do right here. The corners are playing off, and there's Carson. They tried to strip the ball from him. I think that was Mario Addison. But Carson gets a nice 6-yard gain right there. And this rushing attack for Seattle may be the thing that keeps them in the game. And, you know, when you're down by... It's only 3 points that they're down by. But typically when you're down, a lot of teams don't try to run the football. They want to throw it. Seattle, they're committing to the run, even though they're not getting the greatest of yards. It's that commitment to running the football that they've already established that they're going to continue to make. And there's Baldwin. I think he gets enough for the first. We'll see where they spot it. Yep, they're going to move the chains. First down for Seattle. And they're inching their way closer to the end zone. That's Baldwin's 2nd catch on the game. And they're going to go ahead and give this to McKissick. And tried to do a spin move right there. He gets about 9 yards. It's JD. McKissick, of course, came into the season as the starting running back. McKissick, one of those guys that can do it all. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. And Chris Carson came in as the power back, and he's going to power ahead for a first down. But yeah, J.D. McKissick was one of the main guys in the room for the job. And Rashad Penny now coming off of injury from the preseason. He's been electric. He's been getting it going. And there's Will Disley. I think he's going to lose a yard. Yes, he will. But Wilson had to get rid of that ball quickly. 2nd and 11 now. Lockett being covered by James Bradbury on the right side of your screen. And there's Nick Vannett. Big hit by Luke Kuechly. He hangs onto the ball. 1st and goal at the 3 for Seattle. Well, let's see what happens here. They look like they're going to run the football. Let's see. And they blitz up the middle, and Penny goes to the outside, and it's a touchdown. And everybody is praising Penny right now. The teammates showing him some love right there on the touchdown. And that's what you like to see. Janikowski coming out for this extra point, and he is going to drill it right down the middle. Good job. Of course, we got to keep our eyes on the score of some of these games. San Francisco losing to Tampa Bay 7-3. I'll try to keep you updated with the scores as well. Haven't really been paying attention to that, to be completely honest with you. Kenyon Barner, the former Philadelphia Eagle. Right there. The Falcons beat the Saints 35-31. In a matchup that could spoil the Saints' chances at getting a home field advantage. at least getting home field for at least a game or two. Carolina now, they come out in the I formation right there. McCaffrey is injured on the play. He's brought down for a gain of 2, and McCaffrey looked like he was grabbing his hip right there. Hopefully it's nothing serious. CJ Anderson's going to check into the game. And Cam Newton. Oh, a nice job threading the needle right there. Devin Funchess comes away with the catch, and they're going to get him down to about midfield. Cam Newton, a beautiful throw, threading the needle. Maxwell was going for the deflection. Didn't exactly work. A full house formation right here. They're going to give it to CJ Anderson. And Anderson is brought down by a blitzing Shaquille Griffin. It's a gain of 5, though. Nice run from CJ Anderson. And here's Cam Newton again. Newton finds Greg Olsen. Tackled by Wagner and Alexander, and Cam Newton's only thrown the football 5 times. Another one of those teams that like to emphasize the run. 3 receivers out there. Jeremy Maclin, a former Chief, Eagle, and Raven, now with the Panthers. CJ Anderson loses a yard, brought down by Bobby Wagner. Of course, the 2 best middle linebackers in football, arguably, Bobby Wagner and Luke Kuechly, both come into this game having some pretty good seasons. Wagner, of course, not with the greatest of tackles, but the 2 interceptions, some forced fumbles, and pass deflections will do it. Whereas Luke Kuechly has been a tackling machine, and he now has an interception on the season. Newton going to go through his progressions, dumps it off to Anderson, who's tackled inbounds by Alexander. 3rd and 13. And they're going to pinch that defensive line right here. Newton, he's going to end up hiking it. And Funchess almost gets the first. Seattle going to take a timeout. Good stand from the Seahawks. Seattle taking the timeout to preserve some clock. And they'll be able to have 2 timeouts still. So Seattle's thinking about scoring on their next possession. They just went and showed you what they're going to do. And Graham Gano makes the 46-yard field goal. Gano going to kick it off. Darbo was back there to receive it. He's just going to let it go. And with 1 minute and 33 seconds left, Seattle has a chance to get some points on the board. Let's see if it works. They have McKissick in the backfield. He's a decent blocker. Nice slant pass to Doug Baldwin. And he can't break free from Thomas Davis. And Wilson decides to keep it. That was a last-second adjustment right there. I think Wilson was going to hand it off to McKissick, but he's like, no, I'm just going to keep this and run right behind you because Julius Peppers is coming in. So nice play. Oh, turn around. Nick Vannett and Mike Adams gets the interception. Vannett never looked back for the football. He was open for a second, but Mike Adams comes down and makes a beautiful play. So all of a sudden, Russell Wilson, 2 interceptions, not playing his sharpest of football. And here comes Cam Newton. All of a sudden, he throws it to Olsen. Olsen's going to break a tackle, but he is brought down by Mo Alexander. And that interception is costly for Seattle. The second one for Russell Wilson. Kind of on the tight end as well. He never really turned around for the football. Was Nick Vannett. Oh, and Macklin's going to catch the pass right there, going up against Shaquille Griffin, who has had his ups and downs this season. We expect a lot out of him as an organization for him to be that #1 corner this season. And Cam Newton's going to hike it. No Christian McCaffrey. And DJ Moore catches a pass over Dante Johnson. And this Carolina Panther team is just driving down the field. And Cam Newton. CJ Anderson comes up with the catch, and Newton's at 100 yards. And they're going to take a timeout and kick their field goal. Don't blame them. This will be a 47-yard field goal if they attempt it. Is Seattle going to call a timeout? Interesting right here. Yep, this will be a 46, 47-yard field goal for Graham Gano, and he's going to hook it inside. And Seattle right there trying to ice Gano. It didn't exactly work. Seattle in danger of losing their second game. They're down by 2 against Carolina, and Darbo's going to let it bounce. Didn't want to waste any clock right there. Could have possibly tried to return it, but Seattle's like, nope, just kneel it, or just don't bring it out. And Russell Wilson, he's going to try to get his boys in the end zone. Long ways away. And Baldwin, oh, unfortunately not enough time to call a timeout and take a field goal. If he would have had at least 5 more seconds, I mean, you could call a timeout and kick a field goal and be up 10-9. But Seattle having to kick the ball to DJ Moore, who's not going to have a chance to return it. But what a beautiful play by Seattle. They're just showing now that they can throw the deep ball and have some sort of success with it. And now Cam Newton back out here. No Christian McCaffrey like we mentioned earlier. It's play action. And DJ Moore, what a catch. Going across the middle against Shaquille Griffin, who's been having a rough game so far. Alexander going back. It's another play action pass. And Newton's finally going to take off with it, and Barkevius Mingo was trying to look for a hit right there, and Cam Newton gets 9 yards. The first time he's resorted to running the football today. We've seen Russell Wilson have to do it a couple of times. And it's play action. They're going to throw it to Funches. Miscommunication right there on the coverage. Frank Clark actually dropped back in the coverage, which was very interesting right there. Seattle normally doesn't do anything too fancy in their coverage. It's just straightforward. Frank Clark actually dropped back like a linebacker. And another play action pass. Newton, nowhere to go. Frank Clark comes in screaming. Seattle trying to put pressure on Cam Newton. This is the first sack of the game. Newton's offensive line has been holding up pretty well against mainly a run-stopping defensive line, but I mean, this defensive line has Frank Clark on it, and that's the guy we want to get pressure with, along with Barkevius Mingo, but it hasn't been a great day for that. Nice little catch right there by the backup tight end. It's going to be 3rd and 15 now. And Newton, it's going to be 3rd and 15. He's going to throw it to Devin Funches, who tries to get the first down. He's not going to get there. At the 39-yard line, It's a long field goal try. I don't know exactly how long this is. I want to say it's a 56-yard field goal attempt. Maybe 55. Let's see. But no. No good. Just a little short of the mark right there. That was a 55 or 56-yard attempt. And it didn't go in. Russell Wilson coming off of 2 interceptions. He just threw a beautiful deep ball earlier to Doug Baldwin to close the half, but no time remaining to go for any points. So Chris Carson right there gonna get about a yard or two. It's been an interesting game. I mean, it's been a conservative play calling type of game for the offense, but a couple of bad plays from Russell Wilson. I mean, they gave up 6 points just off of bad plays. And Russell Wilson, he's got room to run. He's going to go out of bounds right there at the 31. He had a lot of room to operate, and he's just like, I'm just going to take this myself. No need to overthink it. Well, good for Russell Wilson. He's just trying to gain his confidence back, and Disley didn't plant his foot in the ground or catch it. Wilson would have hit him with a good pass, it looked like. A lot of miscommunication. This team definitely misses Ed Dixon, who was a former Carolina Panther, as a matter of fact. 2nd and 10 now. Rashad Penny's going to get the football. Penny fumbles. A rare fumble from a running back. And Bradbury picks it up. This Panther team is trying to prove something today. They have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and they want to prove it today. A rare fumble by a running back. And Greg Olsen on a wheel route, it looked like. He's just going to catch a beautiful pass, and 15 of 16 now is Cam Newton in terms of completions. This game has gone from bad to worse for Seattle. A rare running back fumble, a couple of dumb plays by Russell Wilson, and Cam Newton's going to break the tackle. He's going to break the tackle, and he's going to take it all the way. Cam Newton. That's like a 51-yard run. And Cam Newton is snorkeling through Seattle's defense, as you see in a celebration. Superman is flexing big time on Seattle's defense. A 51-yard run on a read option. Man, this defense for Seattle not looking too good. Giving up a 51-yard rushing touchdown to Cam Newton, who has been having a very efficient game, unlike Russell Wilson, which now he has 2 turnovers. The offense as a whole has 3. Rashad Penny put the football on the ground. Let's see what he does with this opportunity. Well, he's going to get them to the 26. Let's see what Russell Wilson does right here. I mean, it's going to be a tough drive. You definitely need some points right here. If you don't score here, Carolina can run up that scoreboard. Potentially run up the scoreboard. Uh-oh, and Rashad Penny, and it looks like it's going to be a holding call. It's coming back. It's actually an illegal block in the back, and they're going to get Trey Madden for that again. He was called for it earlier in the first quarter. And this is tough. I mean, you finally get a good running play where you don't fumble. And then they call it back. Julius Peppers is going to drag him down. Working against Jermaine Ifedi. And it was only a matter of time before Wilson goes down as well. It's unfortunate right there. It really is. And J.D. McKissick just trying to get a few yards to make it an easier 3rd down attempt. And here we go. Let's see what happens. This will be the 12th passing attempt for Russell Wilson. He has 2 interceptions today. Let's see what happens. He winds back to throw it, and Addison's going to bring him down for the sack. And this Carolina defense all of a sudden... Well, it's not even all of a sudden. They forced 3 turnovers, but all of a sudden, they're putting pressure on the quarterback. The offense and the defense starting to feed off of each other, and the bounce back is no good. It's going to go straight into the end zone. Michael Dixon couldn't do his trickery with the punts. And things are going from bad to worse in Carolina for Seattle. They're going to hand it off to Anderson, and Frank Clark is there to meet him. He's going to meet him once again. And Cam Newton. 2nd and 10. He's going to find Greg Olsen. And nobody is covering Greg Olsen, it seems like. Olsen just having his way right there on another wheel route. And Cam Newton, without Christian McCaffrey, has been doing a great job in the run game. And Anderson gonna catch the football. Nobody was there across the middle, and now Ryan Khalil is injured. Carolina, who came into this game healthy, now has a couple of injuries on offense. Pistol formation right here for Cam, and he's going to hand it off right there. Barkevius Mingo stops him right there. Mingo, we haven't really heard from him a whole lot. It's been a quiet game for him. Cam Newton kind of coming out in a 5 wide. The clock is going to wind down. Well, let's see right here. 3rd and 4. You got to call something good on defense. And nobody accounts for Cam Newton again. Nobody is worried about Cam Newton. They should be. 3 rushes for 76 yards? You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, there was nobody open. Of course he's gonna take off. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. And now he's just going the other way with it, and KJ Wright brings him down for a gain of 5. And this is the #1 rush defense in the NFL. #1. And they have given up 104 rushing yards as a team. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that number puts them under the top 10 in terms of like totals. So that's not a good look for them. They're stopping CJ Anderson right there. It's just been a couple of big Cam Newton runs. That's been really the main ingredient. And here we go, Newton, 3rd and 7. And the pressure came that time. They made sure Cam Newton felt it. And now with the field goal opportunity right here, the field goal puts him up by 12. Gano gonna have to kick a pretty decently long field goal. That's about 51 yards, and it goes in. Gano has been on fire with the kicks. A couple of 50-plus yarders going in. And now Seattle, it's do or die. You have to score here. You got about 7 minutes to do so. You better come up with something. It has not been a good day for Seattle in terms of running up the scoreboard. They're getting yards, but those yards aren't translating. And Nick Vannett doesn't bring it in. Colin Jones with a good hit right there. to prevent the catch, but Nick Vannett, dude, you gotta catch the ball. You gotta look for it. Track it. It's been a tough outing for Seattle. And a nice little catch right there from Lockett. And they're going to go no huddle. Tyler Lockett, that's the first catch he's had all day. And Russell Wilson just going to take it out of bounds right there. Wilson having to improvise right there. He looked like he wanted to go across the middle to Doug Baldwin, but that linebacker wouldn't commit to either Wilson or Baldwin, so he's like, you know what, I'm going to take it myself. And there's Penny out of the backfield, and Penny going to break a tackle and get out of bounds. Gain of like 12 or 13 right there. And Rashad Penny now starting to get going in the passing game. Normally it's J.D. McKissick and C.J. Prosise that gets involved in these things, but now we have seen Rashad Penny getting more actively involved in the passing game. Look at Brandon Marshall and a flag on the play. Let's see what the flag is this time. And it's a face mask on the defense. It's Mike Adams, and that is a huge help for Seattle. Majority of the penalties have been on Seattle, so if you're Pete Carroll, it's pretty refreshing to have one go your way. And the clock is ticking. Something's got to give right here. And Marshall couldn't hang on to it. He was open for a slight second. And this pass defense for the Panthers, not really the greatest, but they're playing a good game against Seattle. And sometimes statistically, I mean, it's like it's a matchup league. Some teams just match up better against other teams. Even if the Panthers come in here with the 21st ranked passing defense, you know, sometimes it's just a matchup league. The Panthers may be a better matchup defensively against Seattle, even though they're ranked in like the 20s. Sometimes it just doesn't matter. It's going to be a fake right here. Wilson to Rashad Penny, who's trying to lunge forward, but he's not going to be able to get there. Yeah, he tried, man. He had Luke Kuechly draped on him. Oh, and throwing it on the 1 yard line. Seattle should have learned their lesson years ago on that. But it stops the clock nonetheless. Well, let's see what happens here. Those big boys better be ready to go, and Penny gets in there. Touchdown, his second one. Seattle looking like they're playing video games. They're trying to control their own destiny. Seattle only down by 5. They're going to have to stop Carolina, get the ball, and score again. This game could have a crazy finish, or maybe Carolina puts him with the dagger, just hits him with a dagger straight to the heart for this game. We'll have to see. Kenyon Barner, I should say, excuse me. With the kick return, he gets him to the 27. Well, it's been a successful day running the football, and for Cam Newton, he's been able to fit it into some tight windows. Let's see right here what happens. Newton. Oh, and a pass deflection from Wagner. Nice play right there by the defense. Well, Cam Newton right there looking for Mr. Reliable, Greg Olsen. And there's Anderson. He slips under a tackle, and Nazir Jones is going to bring him down. Good play right there. Now it's 3rd and 8. And right here, it's 3rd and 8. Let's see what Cam Newton's going to do. And Coleman should have just turned around right there. Olsen with the catch. Total defense, Seattle is first today. They've allowed over 300 yards. If Justin Coleman turns around, we're talking about a pick potentially. Potentially talking about an interception. And over the middle to Devin Funches. And this defense is laying a massive egg right there. And Funches now goes down with looks like a lower back injury of sorts. I mean, if you hold him to a field goal, you can get 8 points, but I think Seattle just wants the football back. It's been a tough game for these guys. Defensively, they're getting tested by a really good football team. And Olsen catches the football right there. He's tackled for about a gain of 6. Passing offense, Carolina, 31st in the league today. They're having a pretty good performance. Third and 2 now. And Anderson making a man miss, and he is going to get up the middle for 1st and goal. And they're going to let the clock run out. Smart thing. Let's see what the Panthers want to do here. They're going to hand it off the middle to C.J. Anderson, and Seattle forced to take a timeout. Because Carolina did not run a play within the 2-minute warning, now they're forced to take a timeout. And Seattle going to take another timeout. You can't let them score a touchdown here, so it's like it's awkward. You can't let them score a touchdown. And Newton gonna have to take the sack. Newton was going to go out of bounds, but it was going to save a timeout for Pete Carroll and company. So now with 1:44 left, no timeouts, Seattle has to score 8 points to bring it to overtime. This game has gone crazy. Graham Gano going to kick things off, 1:41. Yeah, don't even think about bringing that one out, bud. 1:41 for Seattle. Russell Wilson has the most fourth quarter or overtime comebacks besides Matthew Stafford. He has led the second most behind Matthew Stafford. And a nice block right there for Russell Wilson. He's going to get enough for the first down. Good looking out. A nice block right there from his tight end as well. If nothing's there, you just got to take off. You know, don't try to force anything down the field. It's not good. And there's Nick Vannett down the middle of the field. And Russell Wilson now at 200 passing yards. He's got to get his troops back to the line of scrimmage. And he's trying to hike the football in a hurry. And there's Tyler Lockett, who's not going anywhere. And you notice how, Tyler Lockett goes straight down right there, knowing he can't run around and waste clock. And McKissick, that's a contested catch, incomplete. Knocked away by one of the defensive backs for Carolina. It was a quick pass. They tried to go to him. It didn't work. And Disley is going to catch a pass right there. He's going to move the chains. Looks like they're going to go with the same play. And Russell Wilson, not a whole lot of time left to work with. He needs to come up with something. Yeah, not a whole lot of time to work with. And Marshall, what a play right there. And I think Seattle's going to spike the ball right here and just try to get a playoff after this. And this is interesting. Seattle, despite the 3 turnovers they had on offense, have a chance to take it to overtime. This is incredible. I mean, Russell Wilson's thrown 2 interceptions, a rare fumble by a running back. Carolina's on fire. And Vanett, he's going to catch it. And Russell Wilson, not a whole lot of time left. And this is the final play. And Wilson's going to get in. He basically bulldozed over his running back to get in. And now an untimed 2-point conversion. This is it for Seattle. If they want to win this game, they need to convert this. They're going to motion out Rashad Penny. I don't know what they have planned for him over there. And Russell Wilson going to scramble around. And this one's thrown into the back of the end zone. No good. I don't think Russell Wilson intended for it to go that far. I think he was trying to hit Will Disley in the back of the end zone. But what a good matchup right here. Carolina comes out on top. Seattle takes their 2nd loss of the season. And yep, that's what happens. Carolina had more passing yards, more average yards per play. They had the 3 takeaways, and they edged them in scoring. Those 3 takeaways definitely the difference maker for Carolina winning this ball game. None of the quarterbacks had a passing touchdown, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll see you around for the next episode.